Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, and welcome to the Elimination trial here in Hearthome City, where the Hearthome Haunts are hosting the Fortree Flyers. The Flyers starting out with Talonflame and Siglif. They got here by winning the Wildcard trials, whereas Decidueye and Gourgeist in its super form are starting out for the Hearthome Haunts. There's a huge matchup. Whoever loses here today in this best of 3 series will be eliminated from the championship trial. So let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win today. Will it be the Hearthome Haunts or will it be the Fortree Flyers? Now Talonflame starting out with that. Facade is going to fail because the ghost types are immune to normal type attacks. But that peck on Decidueye is actually super effective. Both Decidueye and Gourgeist are both part grass type. As Decidueye sets up for an ingrain, it's going to restore some health in between turns. A very good early play there by Decidueye. And Gourgeist now going for the nasty plot. So it's not going for the offensive move here. Instead, it's going to boost its own stats to start off this matchup, boosting that special attack. And Gourgeist only has a special attack of 58, so that's a very good play to start early. But as always, this is a 6-on-6 Metronome battle, as all these battles will be, and if we hit the 20-minute time limit for each match, they will go into overtime because we need to find a victor here today to know who's going to go on next week to the minor semi-trial to face the winner of the Melee Draconids and Cinnabar Flare in their matchup. Now Siglif's going to go with the Pain Split on Decidueye. That's a very poor play there by Siglif because it's going to give Decidueye some of its own health back. And speaking of getting some health back, Decidueye is going to go with the Giga Drain now. Now it's not going to be very effective on the flying type, but it's going to get that stab boost for Decidueye, and Decidueye almost gets itself back to full strength. Gourgeist is going to follow it up with a Moon Blast. So that big full moon over the sky, it targets Talonflame with that attack. Also not very effective, but a very good hit on the fire flying type. Now both Talonflame and Decidueye restoring some of their health in between turns. Decidueye actually has gotten itself back to full strength. Now Talonflame, the Fortree Flyers, with that speed advantage in this matchup, goes with the Brutal Swing. It's going to be super effective on everybody on the field, including Siglif, who takes damage from its own teammate. Siglif now in the yellow. The Psychic Flying type is going to go with the Fusion Bolt. Brings that Fusion Bolt down onto Decidueye, taking it down into the yellow as well, even though it's not very effective. Decidueye is going to go for a Magical Leaf again. It won't be very effective on the flying types, but it has that stab boost from that grass typing. Gourgeist now is going to go with the Smog. Continuing to target Talonflame in this turn, gets Talonflame down into the yellow, but Talonflame restores a little bit of health. As does Decidueye. Decidueye actually gets itself back into the green with that health restoration. Now the Hearthome Haunts did beat the Fortree Flyers earlier on this season when they met in round 4. That was in Fortree City. So we'll see if the Hearthome Haunts can continue their winning ways here today over the Fortree Flyers. Siglif now performing the Lunar Dance. This is a very poor choice of turn by Siglif, eliminating itself from the battle this early on, doing that move, giving that advantage to the Hearthome Haunts. They can focus in on Talonflame now. And Decidueye goes with the Hypnosis. This is going to put Talonflame to sleep. Gourgeist looking to follow it up. And Gourgeist is going to go with the Fire Pledge, but what a shocking turn of events. That Fire Pledge, even though not very effective, takes Talonflame down into the red, but Talonflame continues to restore its health between turns, so it's back up in the yellow now. Decidueye with those roots ingrained into the ground, restoring its own health. Fortree Flyers now sending out their third Pokemon, and it's Hawlucha, the fighting flying type. Now Hawlucha can't capitalize on its fighting typing because the ghost types are also immune to that. It's not just normal type attacks. Now Talonflame is still asleep, so Hawlucha is going to have to do the heavy lifting here, and it's going to go with the Flash Cannon. Going straight for Gourgeist. Decent hit there. See what Decidueye can do in response for its own teammate. Gonna go with that Sticky Web. So it'll throw the Sticky Web over to the side of the Fortree Flyers. Now normally this would slow down Pokemon when they come into battle, but the flying types will be able to avoid that Sticky Web. Gourgeist throws its Sticky Web as well, but that's going to fail this time. Unnecessary, what a waste of a turn by the Hearthome Haunts. Fortune Flyers can hopefully capitalize on it this turn, but Talonflame is still asleep. And that's not going to change this turn either. So Hawlucha still having to do all the work. Hawlucha goes for the Flower Shield. That Flower Shield is actually going to boost Decidueye and Gourgeist's defense. So if the Hearthome Haunts repay the favour to the Fighting Flying type, Decidueye going to set up for the Solar Blade. We'll see that move connect in the next turn as it absorbs some sunlight this turn. Now Gourgeist going with the Shadow Ball. We'll get the stab boost being a Ghost type. And it goes for Hawlucha. And a huge hit, almost eliminating the Lucha Libre. Talonflame gets some health restored, but Hawlucha is down in the red. It's going to be an easy target for the Ghost types. Now, the Fortune Flyers are coming in here. They actually have only beaten one top 8 side this whole season coming into the Championship Troubles, and that was the Verbank Venom, who we now know have been eliminated. So to see if the Fortune Flyers can fight the odds and beat all these top 8 sides to become the first ever Grand Trial champions. Decidueye though coming through with that Solar Blade. And it comes down onto Hawlucha. Hawlucha is eliminated with that not very effective move. It was a critical hit, but I think regardless, it would have gotten the elimination. So the Hearthome Haunts starting out very strong with the first 2 eliminations in this matchup. Now we get that Fire Blast coming from Gourgeist onto Talonflame. And Talonflame is holding on. Now between games 1 and 2, we'll also get a tour of the sweltering sands in Veluca Island. Thank you to Pokemon Snap Tours. And between games 2 and 3, we'll get the Spear Pillar battle between the Lucarios, which I look forward to seeing, as the Archeops comes out onto the field for the 4 True Flyers. But mid-game entertainment, as Talonflame finally wakes up, it's still hanging on by a thread here. And it's going to go with a Thunder Shock. Onto Gourgeist, taking it down into the yellow. It's not very effective. Archeops now. Goes with the Hyper Beam. It doesn't affect Gourgeist, being immune to normal type attacks. This will open the window for the Hearthome Haunts. As we got a Headbutt coming from Decidueye. Decidueye welcoming Archeops to the field with that not very effective move. Gourgeist could finish Talonflame off here. And we're going to get the Fury Dance. And it does go for Talonflame. And Talonflame is eliminated by that not very effective move. Another critical hit on the side of the Hearthome Haunts as well. So Talonflame, that's 3 down for the 4 True Flyers. And the Hearthome Haunts are still at full strength. Only 3 Pokemon remaining for the 4 True Flyers now. Corviknight coming out, the Steel Flying type. They have a big task ahead of them if they want to win this first matchup here in Hearthome City. For Game 2, we will be travelling to Fortree City as well. Archeops going with the Shockwave. They're continuing with these electric type attacks on the grass type Pokemon. Not very effective again. And Decidueye goes with the Purify, but that does fail. Corviknight goes with a Dragon Rush. And it's going to connect. Coming down on Decidueye. Takes Decidueye down into the yellow there. Gunk Shot now, which Archeops is able to avoid from Gourgeist. And Decidueye continuing to restore its health thanks to those ingrained roots. But unbelievable, there's only been 2 Pokemon now for the Hearthome Haunts, the 2 Pokemon they started with. And that Storm Throw from Archeops doesn't affect Gourgeist. Those immunities have been a big asset to the Ghost-type Pokemon all season. As Decidueye goes with the coaching over Gourgeist, boosting Gourgeist's attack and defense. Now Corviknight's going to go with the Shadow Ball. This will be super effective. And it goes for Decidueye. And the Alolan starter Pokemon is still hanging on. It's taken down into the red though. Gourgeist going for another Gunk Shot. This time going for Corviknight. Corviknight's immune to poison type moves though. That Steel type is a big asset, making Corviknight immune to both ground and poison type attacks. Archeops now going to go with the circle throw, which doesn't affect Gorgeist. Those immunities being a huge factor in this matchup so far. Octazooka coming from Decidueye. And it goes for Archeops. Huge hit, taking it down into the red. Super effective. It also lowers Archeops' accuracy. This is big for the Hearthome Haunts. The 4-tree Flyers are coming into this matchup completely rattled. That triple kick from Corviknight, again not affecting the ghost types. Now Gorgeist going with the wrap. And it puts that wrap onto Corviknight. It's not very effective, but Corviknight will be taking damage from that in between turns. And Decidueye continuing to restore its health. It's been doing this since the very start of the matchup. And there's Corviknight taking more damage from that wrap, as said. Now both Decidueye and Gorgeist have been in this matchup for over 10 minutes now. So Archeops is going to go for a Geomancy. It's going to absorb the power in this turn and will boost its stats in the next turn. Boost its attack, special attack, and its speed. That double kick now coming from Decidueye. Going for Corviknight. Gets the first kick and there's that second kick. Now Corviknight goes with the Morning Sun, so it's going to restore its health. This could actually get it back to 100% strength. There it is, full strength Corviknight. Now it just needs to get some eliminations because the 4-tree Flyers still haven't got one. And Gorgeist sets up for a Doom Desire. See this move hit in the coming turns. Now you have to think it'll probably do more damage if it connects on Archeops. But we don't know who that Doom Desire will target until it connects. That wrap continuing to afflict Corviknight. Here's that Geomancy being completed by Archeops. And I apologise, it wasn't its attack and special attack, it's its special attack and special defense. There are so many stat boosted moves throughout the Elite Challenge League. It is amazing as Decidueye goes with Supreme Pulse, going for Archeops, and Archeops not very effective is holding on. Now we get the Powder Snow coming from Corviknight. This hits both Gorgeist and Decidueye, and Gorgeist holds on, almost eliminated, but still hanging in there, so it's going to get another move out. And goes with the Lick. Now Lick going for Corviknight, doing more damage than I actually would have expected. Decidueye is still restoring its health. And Corviknight still taking damage from that wrap. Now the 4-tree Flyers need to get these quick eliminations. Decidueye and Gorgeist are both still holding on here. If Archeops can do anything, it needs to do it now. And it's going to go with an Ice Fang. Going for Decidueye, and Decidueye holds on. I was totally expecting to say that Decidueye has been eliminated, but it hasn't. It's still here. And Decidueye goes with a Floral Healing in response. This actually helps Archeops having its health restored. It gets back into the green. That's a very poor play by Decidueye. Corviknight's going to go with the Brick Break, which doesn't affect Decidueye, which will open the door for Gorgeist. And Gorgeist goes with the Baton Pass, so Gorgeist is going to go back to the bench. Don't be confused, Gorgeist is still in this matchup. And Aegislash comes out in its shield form as Corviknight takes the Doom Desire attack. Taking Corviknight down into yellow, but it's not very effective. That Ingrain has been a huge benefit to Decidueye. It definitely has kept it in this matchup longer than you would have expected. Archeops now is going to go with the Dragon Breath. And this is going to target Decidueye, and finally Decidueye has been taken down by the Flying type. Corviknight now looking to focus in on Aegislash whilst it's still in its shield form. It's going to go with the Surf. It's going to ride that Surf, but that's going to hit Archeops, probably doing more damage to Archeops than what it did Aegislash. Now Aegislash is going to go with its stance change and switch to its Blade form. And goes with the Mega Kick, but Archeops avoids that. As Gorgeist comes back out onto the field, it's still hanging on just by a thread. As we know, when Aegis Slash switches to its blade form, its 140 defense and special defense become its attack and special attack stats. And another Ice Fang from Archeops finishes Gorgeist off. So Fortune Flies are still in this matchup. And again, Aegis Slash is on the field by itself. Now Corviknight goes with the teleport, so Corviknight's going to go back to the bench. We're going to find out who that last Pokemon on the Fortune Flyers side is. And it's Mandibuzz who comes out for the Flyers, joining Archeops. Aegis Slash has that window open. It's going to go with the blue flare. Going for Mandibuzz, and a huge hit. Mandibuzz is almost eliminated, but it's left with that burn. And the burn should finish it off. But it doesn't. Mandibuzz is holding on by the thinnest of threads as Gengar comes out for the Hearthome Haunts. Now Archeops has the speed advantage on the field. It goes with the Night Days. This will be super effective. Goes for Aegis Slash here. And Aegis Slash is eliminated by that super effective move. It is now 3 versus 3. The Fortune Flyers have gotten themselves back into this game. And Gengar's going to set up for a Geomancy. So we saw this earlier, it's going to boost its special attack, special defense, and its speed in the next turn. It needs to capitalize on those boosted stats. But if Mandibuzz has anything to say about it, it would have taken Gengar down, but instead it goes with the Screech, which is going to lower Gengar's defense. And Mandibuzz is still holding on here. But there's that burn. Mandibuzz is eliminated thanks to that burn that Aegis Slash set up earlier. So we know Corviknight's coming back out onto the field for the Fortune Flyers. Hearthome Haunts sending out their 5th Pokemon, and it's Drifblim, another flying type Pokemon actually. Except Drifblim was drafted to the Hearthome Haunts instead of the Fortune Flyers. Now there have been talks about whether or not Drifblim will be traded across to the Fortune Flyers for next season, but that we don't know yet. So Archeops goes with the Venoshock, targeting its fellow flying type. It's not very effective on Drifblim, however. And Gengar finishes off that Geomancy. There's that special attack, special defense, and speed boost. Now Drifblim is going to go with the Boomerang. It doesn't affect Corviknight. Flying types again are immune to ground type attacks. Now Corviknight goes with the Magical Leaf. Going for Drifblim here, another not very effective move. But the Hearthome Haunts have the numbers advantage at the moment. It's a 3 versus 2 battle. Fortune Flyers have worked themselves back into this very well. Very methodically so, but they have done it. As Archeops goes with a Pluck. And a huge hit onto Gengar as Archeops steals its Leopard Berry and proceeds to eat it in front of it. And we have our 2-minute warning. There is only 2 minutes left in this, which means if that countdown clock hits 0, we will go into overtime, and Gengar throws the Toxic Spikes onto the side of the Fortune Flyers. That's similar to the Sticky Web, is not going to benefit the Hearthome Haunts whatsoever because the Fortune Flyers won't land on it. Drifblim going for the Moonlight. So it restores its health here, gets itself back to full strength. Now Corviknight going with the Sparkling Aria. It's going to hit everyone on the field with this move. It's super effective on its own teammate Archeops. Both Archeops and Corviknight are in the yellow. Whereas the Hearthome Haunts still have an unknown Pokemon sitting on the bench. That overheat from Archeops is going to be avoided by Gengar, which gives Gengar the opportunity. And it goes for another Toxic Spikes. What a waste of a turn by Gengar with those boosted stats. With that countdown clock on the screen, we only have 50 seconds left. Otherwise, we're going into overtime. If somebody can get 2 eliminations, Drifblim going with the power-up punch onto Corviknight. It's not going to do a great deal of damage, but Drifblim boosts its attack. Now Corviknight's going to go with the Crunch, another super effective move. Going for Gengar, and it'll get the elimination. A fantastic play in the last minute. Gengar is eliminated, which means at this stage it'll be a 2 versus 2 battle going into overtime, unless somebody can get some eliminations in this turn. Dusknoir with its Frisk is going to let us know what we already know, that everybody in the Elite Challenge League is holding a Leopard Berry. But this should be the last turn, so they need to get eliminations either side. The Retaliate from Archeops isn't going to affect anybody, which will open the window for the Hearthome Haunts. Drifblim goes with the Tailwind, but that Tailwind won't impact the single battle overtime. Dusknoir going for its first and last move of regulation time. Goes with the Syrian Shot. This is going to hit everybody. And it takes out Corviknight. Corviknight's eliminated, but Archeops was able to hold on, so we are going into overtime. It is going to be 2 versus 1. The Hearthome Haunts have the advantage. And in game 1, this is overtime. Hearthome Haunts, 4 True Flyers. It is going to be a single Pokemon battle. Archeops will be going up against Drifblim to start it off. Archeops has to take down 2 Ghost-type Pokemon here. We have 2 Flying-type Pokemon out at the moment. Archeops has the speed advantage over Drifblim. And it goes with the Wonder Room. That Wonder Room is going to switch defense and special defense for Pokemon. Drifblim going with another power-up punch. We saw this in regulation time. So Drifblim does boost its attack with that move. It needs to capitalize on that. Drifblim does have the 80 base attack stat. Archeops goes with a discharge. This is going to be super effective. Massive hit on the Drifblim, who holds on though. It is in the red. So Drifblim needs to capitalize on its boosted attack. Goes with a takedown, but Archeops avoids that attack. It's a very good play by the Rock Flying type. Archeops now goes with the Spark, another electric type attack. This should take Drifblim down, and that it does. Drifblim is eliminated. Archeops is starting off very strong in this overtime. Now we have Dusknoir coming out for the Hearthome Haunts. It's a 1 versus 1 battle here in game 1. Now again, after this game 1, we will be going to the Sweltering Sands in Volica Islands. Archeops still with that speed advantage, goes for the Grass Knot. And a huge hit on Dusknoir. Archeops doing everything it has to right now. But Dusknoir is going to go with the Zing Zap. This will be super effective. And Archeops holds on. It's still in this. Archeops is going to go with the Incinerate. This will burn up Dusknoir's Leopard Berry, but it won't do much damage. And Dusknoir goes with a Sand Attack, so it's going to lower Archeops' accuracy with that move. Wonder Room has worn off as well. This could be Archeops' opportunity though. Goes with the Round, which doesn't affect Dusknoir. And Dusknoir is going to go with an Anchor Shot. This should get the job done. And it lands, and the Hearthome Haunts win game 1. That's a fantastic start to this series by the Hearthome Haunts. As we're now going to head to the Sweltering Sands for a tour thanks to Pokemon Snap. And this is the Volica Island Sweltering Sands, a very beautiful landscape as we see the Skorupi digging into the sands. You can actually see a Heliolisk off in the distance there. I definitely like the sunlight basking down on them in this environment. You can see the Mandibuzz flying in the landscape. Quite a few sandstorms can kick up in this area at times as well. Speaking of Pokemon basking in the sunlight, you get beautiful cacturns in this area. Oh, and look at him having a great time rolling down. Again, there's that Heliolisk. Oh, and look at that poor Skorupi getting caught up in that sandstorm. That's terrible. I hope it's okay. Looks like both Skorupi are having a bad day. I don't know what that Mandibuzz was doing to Skorupi. Poor thing. Mandibuzz clearly seems to be enjoying the sandstorm that's kicking up at the moment. Wonder what it is that kicks up all these sandstorms in this area. There's that Mandibuzz flying overhead, clearly searching for scraps. But as always, we're traveling here on the Neo 1. It is rust proof, so it's very good for this area. See the Hippowdons in the distance. And this beautiful green space in this sweltering area. You can just make out the Lycanroc jumping down over there. The sleeping Hippowdons, both male and female form. And again, those Mandibuzz are just watching in the distance. They are everywhere. Beautiful little Torchic enjoying the warm weather. But this bit of water can provide a nice reprieve from that heat when needed. And just through the grass here, you can see the Heliolisk sleeping. And some Vivillon, we actually saw them in another area recently. And more Hippowdons. They can actually run rather fast on the sand here. But it doesn't look like they always get along, that's for sure. Beautiful Vivillons in their sandstorm form. And there's the Hippowdon again. It's going to run up that sand dune. I don't even think I know many people who could run up that sand dune that well. But thank you for coming through the sweltering sands. We'll head back to Fortree City now for the Fortree Flies versus the Hearthome Haunts in Game 2. Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, and welcome back from your tour with Pokemon Snap. Welcome to Fortree City for Game 2 of the Elimination Trial, with the Hearthome Haunts starting out with Cursor and Poltergeist, Braviary and Unpheasant starting out for the Fortree Flies. Now the Hearthome Haunts do have the advantage after winning Game 1, so if they win Game 2, they will go straight through to the minor semi-trial, but regardless, we will have Game 3 after this. In the meantime though, Unpheasant's going to start out with the Discharge. This hits everybody on the field. It's actually super effective on its own teammate Braviary, and Braviary is left paralyzed from its teammate already. Hearthome Haunts could capitalize on this as we get a Venoshock coming from Poltergeist. And that continues to go for Braviary. Braviary already been taken down into the yellow. The Haunts capitalizing on Pheasant's move. And we get a Sparkling Area coming from Cursor. It's going to hit everybody on the field. We saw this in Game 1, and Braviary's already down in the red. Now Braviary going with the Swift, but it doesn't affect the Ghost types. Now it is actually a good play by the Fortree Flies to start out with their normal flying types, because they're then immune to Ghost type attacks. Now as always, just like in our previous matchup, if we hit the 20-minute time limit, we will go into single battle overtime, but until then it is a double battle. Now Poltergeist's weak armor is going to lower its defenses and boost its speed, as it's still just holding on here. Poltergeist is going to be an easy target for the Fortree Flies as it performs a bulk up. Now Poltergeist boosting its attack and defense. I don't think that boosted defense is going to be much use to Poltergeist being such an easy target. Dragon Tail is avoided by Unpheasant from Cursor, and Braviary is still in this matchup. Shakes off its paralysis and it's going to go for a Blaze Kick. And it goes for Poltergeist and the early elimination. So Poltergeist has been taken down and the Fortree Flies have got the early lead. This is what they want. Now they're yet to beat the Hearthome Haunts at all this season, and we have Chandelure coming out now for the Hearthome Haunts. The Fortree Flies definitely want to do it in this matchup. to keep their hopes alive, otherwise they are eliminated from the championship trials. Unpheasant now going with the charge beam. Continuing on the offensive are the Fortree Flyers, going straight for Chandelure. The moves are also going to boost Unpheasant's special attack in the process. Chandelure going for its first move of the matchup, goes with the Twister. This is going to hit both Braviary and Unpheasant, but it takes Braviary out of the match with a critical hit. It is eliminated. So straight away the Hearthome Haunts have got themselves back to level with the Fortree Flyers. Cursor is going to focus in on Unpheasant with a Draining Kiss. And Unpheasant is eliminated, so the Hearthome Haunts, just like that, have taken the lead, and Cursor gets itself back to full strength. Now the Fortree Flyers are sending out their pseudo-legendary Salamence, as well as another dragon type, that being Noivern. So the 2 dragon flying types now, as opposed to the 2 normal flying types. Fortree Flyers are at a numbers disadvantage, but they're going big now. And there is a dragon type on the side of the Hearthome Haunts who we've yet to see this weekend. Salamence performing the Rain Dance. Rain is going to start to cover the field. Now Chandelure going with the Leech Life. In order to restore some of its health as it takes some from Noivern. Even though not very effective, it still helps Chandelure restore its health. Cursor is going to look to follow up. Going with the Trick Room, so it's actually going to make the Hearthome Haunts quicker than the Fortree Flyers. It's a very good play there by Cursor to try and give itself the speed advantage. Cursor now going with the Flame Wheel. And it looks like the Hearthome Haunts are targeting Noivern here. Even if they're with those not very effective attacks, it's still good to chip away at the Pokemon. Chandelure though going for a Shockwave. This will actually be super effective. I apologise, not super effective. That Dragon typing prevents it from being so, but still a very decent hit. Salamence goes with the Screech onto Cursor. It's going to lower its defences here. Now Noivern, second quickest Pokemon on the Fortree Flyers, goes with the Triple Axle. Going for Cursor, gets that first hit, and Cursor has that weak armor, so every time this connects, it's actually going to get stronger, because Cursor's defense lowers every time it connects. There's the second one. If it can get the third, it levels the playing field. Even though Cursor's speed is boosting, it's not going to matter because Noivern connects with all 3 and gets the elimination. A very good play by Noivern there on that Triple Axle. And speaking of speed, out comes the Hearthome Haunts' own pseudo-legendary to match up with Salamence. This is a huge confrontation between these 2 pseudo-legendary dragons. Chandelure though going first with the Quiver Dance because that Trick Room is still in play, so Dragapult will actually go last. It's the quickest Pokemon in the Elite Challenge League. Salamence. It's going to go with the Power Whip. Goes for Chandelure. Now it's not very effective, but a decent hit still. But Chandelure has that Flame Body that's going to leave Salamence burned. Salamence is going to suffer from that burn in between turns. In the meantime though, Noivern sets up for its turn, goes with the Air Cutter. It's going to get the stab boost from this attack, hitting both Chandelure and Dragapult. Now Dragapult's going to go for its first move of the matchup. Going with the Lunge. And it's responding to Noivern, taking it down into the yellow with that not very effective move. However, it does lower Noivern's attack, and Salamence takes its first damage from that burn it received from Chandelure. It is now a 4 versus 4 battle. So Fortree Flyers are definitely still in this. If they can get the next elimination, it'll help greatly. And Salamence goes with the Bone Meringue onto Dragapult. You have to think it would have been better going for the Fire type Chandelure. But that Bone Meringue does get Dragapult down into the yellow. Now Noivern goes with the Liquidation. And it looks like they're trying to get rid of the pseudo-legendary from the Hearthome Haunts. Instead of going for those super effective moves on Chandelure, who now goes with the Psychic. And a huge hit there on Novo, and it gets the elimination. So just like that, the Hearthome Haunts have taken the lead and Dragapult can focus in on Salamence. Going with the Hyper Voice. Decent hit there on Dragon Flying type, and Salamence has extra damage done by that burn. Fifth Pokemon now coming out for the Fortree Flyers. And it's Talonflame. So it's a Dragon and Flying type versus a Dragon and Flying type at the moment. Sorry, not Dragon and Flying, a Dragon and Fire type versus a Dragon and Fire type. Salamence going with the Cotton Spore. Lowering the speed of both Chandelure and Dragapult. This will actually allow Chandelure to go now. Again, that Trick Room still in play, and Chandelure goes with the Flame Charge. Going for Talonflame, it's not going to be very effective as it is a Fire type. But Chandelure does boost its own speed with that move. Now Talonflame going with the Swords Dance, so it's going to look to boost its attack with this dance. And now Dragapult goes with the Swallow. That does fail, however, and the rain finally stops over the field. I'm sure that Talonflame and Chandelure are both relieved of that. And the Twisted Dimensions have returned to normal, which means Dragapult should be going first. I wonder if Chandelure will be fast enough to go before Talonflame with those speed boosts. Zen Headbutt coming from Dragapult. And it goes for its fellow Dragon Salamence, taking it down into the red. But Talonflame is quicker than Chandelure at the moment. And it goes with the Soak. It's going to change Dragapult to a Water type. And now Salamence goes with the Thunder Wave. This is going to paralyze Chandelure. Chandelure needs to shake off that paralysis in between turns. In the meantime, Chandelure is going to go with the Youth Drain. Onto Talonflame, another not very effective move, but it is good for Chandelure to restore some of its health. Salamence still suffering from that burn. It's going to be an easy target for the Hearthome Haunts. Dragapult surely wants to go for that pseudo-legendary. Dragapult now going with the Storm Throw. Goes for Talonflame. Not very effective though, but it does get the critical hit. Talonflame though can respond. And it's going to go with the Stomp, which doesn't affect Chandelure. Those Ghost types, those immunities are a huge benefit to them as Salamence goes with the Octolock. It doesn't affect Chandelure either, but Chandelure suffers from that paralysis and is unable to move. Salamence looks like it only has one turn left in it. Whether it'll be the burn that takes it down or the Hearthome Haunts, we'll find out shortly. But Dragapult could go for it as an easy target. Dragapult goes with the Flame Wheel. Instead opting to go for Talonflame, taking it down into the yellow. Not very effective, but it gets the job done. Talonflame going to respond with a Zen Headbutt. And goes for Chandelure. And Chandelure is eliminated with that critical hit. Massive there by Talonflame. This has got it down to 3 versus 3. The Fortree Flyers have leveled the field. Mind Reader being performed by Salamence, which is no good for the Fortree Flyers because you know that that burn is going to afflict Salamence now and eliminate it from the battle, which instantly puts the Hearthome Haunts back in front. We have Archeops coming out as the last Pokemon for the Fortree Flyers. And Dusknoir coming out now for the Hearthome Haunts, practically reliving that overtime battle between these two Pokemon. Surely Archeops is going to want to avenge that elimination from Dusknoir. Heavy Slam though, coming from Dragapult. Going for Archeops. Big hit, welcoming it to the field with that super effective move. That Lunar Dance from Talonflame is going to fail, which I'm sure the Fortree Flyers are grateful for that Talonflame couldn't eliminate itself. But Archeops goes for the Thrash. Dusknoir though is able to avoid it due to its immunity and sets up a sunny day. That that sunlight is going to turn harsh over the field now. And the Fortree Flyers are still in this They want to win this and keep their hopes of winning the third game alive. Dragapult, though, goes with the assurance over Archeops, taking it down into the red. Is big for the Hearthome Haunts. They connect him with the moves they need, and that reversal from Talonflame won't affect the Ghost types again. The Fortree Flyers keep making this mistake, and then we get the Bone Rush coming from Archeops. Goes for Dragapult. Gets the first hit. This multi-hit move, it's got the second, taking Dragapult down into the red. And it only gets 3. If it had gotten all 5, you have to think it would have eliminated Dragapult from this matchup. Dusknoir now going with the Corrosive Gas. This is going to burn off everyone's Leper Berry. Or corrode them away. But still, that advantage for the Hearthome Haunts is massive. Dusknoir is actually still at full strength. Dragapult. Going to go with the Leaf Blade now. And it's going to go for Archeops. And it gets that elimination. Archeops is taken down. Talonflame is all by itself. And it's going to set up for a Skull Bash, which we know will not connect. That immunity for the Hearthome Haunts. The Skull Bash is a normal type attack. This is massive. The Hearthome Haunts can smash their way into the into the minor semi-trial. Dusknoir goes with the Kinesis instead, though. Talonflame having its accuracy lowered. Its accuracy won't matter for that Skull Bash, though. Dragapult could punch that ticket for next week. Dragapult going with the Attract. Now Talonflame is in love with Dragapult, but it doesn't matter. Tries for the Skull Bash again, it does not work. Dusknoir goes with the Head Smash. This could finish the job. And it does. Talonflame has been eliminated. We now know the Hearthome Haunts are going through to the minor semi-trial. And the Fortree Flyers will be left as the Elite Four member #1 for this season. But for now, we're going to go to the Spear Pillar. We have our Battle of the Lucarios here. This is absolute mayhem in this melee. The chaos is insane. Now, we will not see Lucario in the Championship Trials this season. Unfortunately, they were a member of the Vilestone Combat, as Green Lucario has been eliminated. Yes, Lucario was a member of the Vilestone Combat who sadly did not make the Championship Trials. And why is there a puppy dog on the screen? This puppy dog is blocking the view. Damn you Nintendogs. You are in the way. As the battlefield turns upside down, but we can barely tell because that puppy will not leave. We have Palkia in the background. And we still have 7 Lucarios left. And original Lucario is actually the only one still with decent health. Everyone else is above 50% damage. But again, absolute chaos with these Lucarios. Just absolutely fighting each other. And there's Mimikyu on the field as well. Mimikyu's disappeared as Dialga comes onto the field now. And again, still 7 Lucarios. We've been in this matchup for almost a minute and a half. We've only had 1 elimination. And Lucario going for its final smash. And it gets 2 eliminations with that move. And we're down to our final 3. We have regular Lucario, light blue, and pink Lucario as we go into slow motion. Time is slowing down. It returns to normal now. We've only got 3 Lucarios left. We're down to 2. We've got the light blue and the regular Lucario. Lucario charging up for a massive Aura Sphere, but it doesn't get the job done. Absolute mayhem though. And And a massive uppercut from Lucario gives it the victory. It is light blue Lucario who wins. Now we'll be going back to Hearthome City for Game 3. Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, and welcome back to Game 3 of Hearthome Haunts versus Four Tree Flyers. Sigalith and Hawlucha starting out for the Four Tree Flyers. We've got Drifloon and Gengar starting out for the Hearthome Haunts. Now we already know the Hearthome Haunts are going to the minor semi-trial, which leaves the Four Tree Flyers as our Elite Four member number 1. That is how we shape up the top 5. You get 4 Elite Four members and your champions. So every time there's an elimination from here on out, Elite Four members will be crowned. So in the minor semi-trial next week, it'll be the Hearthome Haunts facing the loser of the Maleo Draconids and the Cinnabar Flare. As Gengar goes for the Misty Explosion, it wants the early rest. Gengar doing massive damage to Hawlucha as well, but Gengar is eliminated with its first move, giving the Four Tree Flyers an early advantage. Hearthome Haunts clearly just want to go rest. Sigalith now going with the Echoed Voice, which doesn't affect Drifloon. Drifloon on the field by itself at the moment. And it goes with a Memento, so it's going to do exactly what Gengar did and take itself out of this matchup. Now obviously Hearthome Haunts have nothing riding over this matchup, so clearly they don't mind if they lose. Four Tree Flyers, sadly, again, are eliminated from the championship trials as Cursor comes out now for the Hearthome Haunts. Cursor is going to be joined by Decidueye. But whoever loses the minor semi-trial next week will be Elite Four member number 2. So will it be the Hearthome Haunts, or will they continue their way through this championship trial? And Cursor's perished body, so it will be eliminated in 3 turns, but Hawlucha's damaged by the recall, so Hawlucha's eliminated anyway. Now Sigalith setting up a grassy terrain, which is actually probably going to benefit the Decidueye more so than anybody else on the field. Four Tree Flyers did very well to get this far into the season. They had won their first 3 games of the season, but as I said this earlier, they did not win any games over the top 8 sites except for over the Verbank Venom. And that lash out from Decidueye is going to eliminate Sigalith. The Hearthome Haunts very quickly work themselves back into this matchup now. Unless Cursor goes for a Misty Explosion. And that does not, it goes with the Roar. It's already a 4 versus 4 battle. With that said, Cursor's perish count does fall to 3. So next week we will have the major semi-trial and the minor semi-trial. The major semi-trial will be between the Olivine and the winner of the Maleo Draconids and Cinnabar Flare. Like I said, the loser of that game will face the Hearthome Haunts. Braviary now. Braviary and Corviknight coming out for the Four Tree Flyers. Braviary goes with the Boomerang onto Cursor. That first hit is massive. It is a critical hit, and it's going to follow it up with a second. And Cursor's perish count won't matter now because it has been eliminated by Braviary. That Boomerang was very impressive. Decidueye going for the attract, but doesn't affect Braviary. Now Corviknight. Gonna go with the Rock Blast. Gets Decidueye once. It's a multi-hit move this, it's got it twice. There's 3. There's 4. Critical hit on that 4th one. Only gets 4. Now is it just me, or does it seem like the Hearthome Haunts aren't taking this game as seriously? They eliminated 2 of their own teammates as we have Chandelure come out now as the 5th Pokemon for the Hearthome Haunts. Four Tree Flyers unfortunately just could not get it done here today. Now Chandelure going with that Leafage over Braviary. Not very effective though. Even with the boost from that grassy terrain, but now we get the low sweep, which doesn't affect Chandelure. Decidueye now with the chance to capitalise, goes with the Reflect. The Reflect is going to make the Hearthome Haunts stronger against physical type moves. Now Corviknight going with the Lash Out, this will be super effective. And it goes for Chandelure. very good hit, but Chandelure was actually still in the green even after that move. Both Chandelure and Decidueye having their health restored due to the grassy terrain. Unfortunately for the Fortree Flyers, due to them flying above it, they won't receive any health restoration. Now Chandelure going with the disable. Focuses in on Corviknight there, so Corviknight's prevented from using its Metronome. So it won't even get to go for a move this turn. Then the next turn it's going to struggle. Which you know, as we already know, it will get recoil damage. Braviary sets up that hail, so everyone's going to be taking damage from that in between turns. Now Decidueye going with an Aerial Ace. Going for Corviknight here, doing very minimal damage to the Steel Flying type. And there's that hail hitting everyone on the field. The only Pokemon actually immune. Oh no, I apologize. I was about to say that immune to the hail is Corviknight due to the Steel typing, but that is incorrect. Even though it's Steel type, it does still suffer the effects of the hail. But now we are down to what we know are our top 4 sides. There are only 4 teams remaining. We have the Olivine Ore, the Maleo Dragonids, the Cinnabar Flare, and the Hearthome Haunts. They are the top 4 teams, and they are the 4 teams left in the Championship Trials. Let us know in the comments below of those 4 sides who you think is going to win. And how dominant they may or may not be in getting there. Will we see any more overtime games in the Championship Trials? We have the major semi-trial, the minor semi-trial, then the week after that we have the preliminary trial before we go into our grand trial to crown our first ever champion in the Elite Challenge League. Decidueye taking Braviary down into yellow, but gets its own recoil damage. And speaking of recoil damage, Corviknight with the struggle on Chandelure. There's that hail again. By the end of this month, we will have our 4 Elite 4 members, or Elite 4 teams, and our championship team crowned for the first time ever in the Elite Challenge League. I look forward to that. That grassy terrain over the battlefield has cleared. Unfortunately for the Fortree Flyers, they couldn't beat the Hearthome Haunts earlier this season, and they're yet to beat them today. So the Fortree Flyers need to prove that they can at least beat the Hearthome Haunts once. The Flyers were the quickest team in the Elite Challenge League. Their speed base average of 99.4 higher than any other side. The Hearthome Haunts were actually my pick at the very start of this season to win the whole thing. And they're still in it, in the running. With that said, the Olivine Ore have been an unbelievably dominant side. Corviknight continuing with that struggle, this time going for Decidueye. There's that hail still over the battlefield. Now, Fortree Flyers have the numbers advantage at the moment. This is one of the few occasions I believe we've actually seen today where they've had the numbers advantage. That extra sensory now coming from Braviary, going for Decidueye, and almost gets the elimination, but Decidueye is still holding on. Chandelure going with the Surf though. This is going to take out its own teammate as Chandelure is going to ride that Surf. But not only does it take out Decidueye, it takes out both Braviary and Corviknight, which means it's now a 2 versus 2 battle, thanks to Chandelure's triple elimination. Chandelure taking more damage from that hail as well as the Reflect finally wears off. Now out comes Noivern for the Fortree Flyers. Noivern tried very well throughout these championship trials, and Dragapult coming out for the Hearthome Haunts. And Archeops coming out to join Noivern. Now Dragapult is actually the quickest Pokemon in the Elite Challenge League, and it goes with a Recovery. Very poor move to start. But it'll open up the window for Noivern and see if it can capitalize. It goes with the agility, so it's going to boost its own speed. This could actually make it quicker than its fellow Dragon type. Archeops now. Goes with the Tickle. Going for Dragapult here, it's going to lower its attack and defense. Anyone who's been tickled before knows that your strength does leave you when that happens. Now Dragapult going with the Shell Side Arm. Going straight for Noivern. Cutting its health in half as that hail over the battlefield does stop. Now Noivern does have the speed advantage, but goes with the explosion. It's going to take itself out of this matchup. And the Hearthome Haunts are immune to this move, so it's only going to damage its teammate. That is a terrible play by Noivern, taking itself out of the battle. The Hearthome Haunts haven't even been trying in this match, it seems, and they could still win here. Flatter now coming from Dragapult. Now it does boost the special attack of Archeops, but it does leave it confused. Archeops is able to shake off its confusion though. Goes with the superpower, which doesn't affect Chandelure. Again, that immunity comes into play. And Chandelure goes with the disarming voice. That'll take Archeops down into yellow with that critical hit. You have to think it's just a matter of time until the Hearthome Haunts get their third victory in a row over the Fortree Flyers. Now Dragapult plays its substitution. Cuts down its own health with that move, but prevents it from taking any more damage until that substitution is gone. But Archeops hits itself in its confusion, and that is it. The Fortree Flyers have lost 3 games in a row to the Hearthome Haunts. The Hearthome Haunts are storming into the minor semi-trial with massive momentum. I look forward to that match next week. But regardless, the Hearthome Haunts finished strong. Decidueye looking very happy there. Hearthome Haunts have had a very strong season so far. That top 4 is known. So we look forward next week. The major semi-trial, minor semi-trial, the Fortree Flyers are left as Elite 4 member number 1. But until then, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching, especially if you've gotten this far. Thank you so much, I really appreciate it. But let us know who you thought was the best on field today. And if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe. It always helps out. And as I said, you have gotten this far. But more importantly, always remember, you are awesome. And I will speak to you next time.